Hello everyone, Shirley here, and welcome to my Heroic Sarkareth Arms Guide. We're playing a standard single target build for this boss, as we are in most of the raid, and off the rip here we're going to go in, put up all of our cooldowns, and build up our big Test of Might buff here. And during this, the very beginning of the boss is going to cast Glittering Surge here, so it's a good time to throw up a Spell Reflect to help mitigate some of that magic damage. And then he's going to do his knockback right about the time our Colossus Smash window falls off, so make sure that you don't miss your Thunderous Roar when he does that, because it can happen. And then the next set of mechanics comes out here real quick, which is the Disintegrate lines off of his After Image, as well as the not Deep Breath, but his Breath attack that he does there. Unfortunately, I get one of the Disintegrates right off the rip, which is really bad for anybody, but especially for melee, I suppose, because it's going to put a arcane debuff on you that's going to slow you during this first phase. And if you get hit by the fire at the beginning instead, you won't have this slow on you the whole time. It's just a ticking dot. Speaking of which, we need to be eating one of these two abilities to clear a debuff that he puts on at the very beginning of the fight, much like Sire Denathrius. If you don't clear this by the time we go into the next phase, it'll just kill you, basically. And as we rotate around the room here, we're all staying behind the boss as much as possible, and that's to bait out these bombs you can see on the left side there. So those positioning, aren't getting in front of us and in the way as we rotate around in a clockwise fashion. Speaking of which, the Disintegrate debuffs that go out here, the Mass Disintegrates, as you see, they don't actually come off the boss. They come off as a little image, so you can actually move the boss during these moments and, pay attention to the lines. But as we hit their transition in Phase 2 here, he's going to go ahead and cast a second Glittering Surge. This is where we're going to parry and rally because it's a ton of raid damage going out. And your CDs come back up at that point as well. Do not use Avatar and everything right when that goes out, because you'll waste it going into Intermission here. And as we go into the downstairs phase, which you're forced into, we're going to go around and pick up as many of these little motes as we can to get our stacking haste buff, as well as speed buff. Got 9 there. You can get 6, or not 6, you can get up to 10, but we almost got it. Anyway, as we jump back into the next phase here on the boss, don't pop all your cooldowns on him immediately while he's channeling, because he still takes no damage, so be sure to interrupt him before you pop all your CDs here. And this is where we're going to go ahead and throw Thunderous Roar as all the ads spawn right after his Deep Breath cast on the ads themselves. And with that haste buff coming out of Intermission there, you can actually chase him down a little bit during your cooldown window and keep up with him, so it's not, that big of a deal that he's flying away. But we're going to throw our Thunderous Roar, immediately on those ads rather than wait for Test of Might, because they're not going to live very long. And as we're in Phase 2 here, these soak puddles that come out from the cleanse debuff, there's the knockback that just went out there. We're going to make sure that we're positioning ourselves in such a way that we're not getting knocked into the Deep Breath line or the pools, because it'll give you a stacking debuff that put us down into the Intermission phase. You don't really need to do that. It's just, wasted time and damage, at least on Heroic right here. So we're going to be avoiding, getting knocked into those pools as much as possible. And the second Deep Breath cast is going to also spawn those ads, but we're not going to have the speed buff to chase them down, so I'm just going to sit there on the ads and blast those down as much as possible as we hit our second Intermission going into Phase 3 here. Our big Drakthir guy transforms. We're going to bait in the middle of the room for this Void Zone here and then take a Warlock Gate out to the edge of the room, and that's so we can pre-position this bomb that gets dispelled right there, making sure that we're not getting knocked off the edge of the platform. And right here, I could be padding on these ads a bit harder, but I want to get back on the boss because this is our Bloodlust Burn, and we're hitting 35% into Execute phase here, so big Test of Might buff stacking up here. We're going to help soak that random pool that goes on a player there, that big one there, and then as soon as everybody helps soak that, we're going to get out of it because it's going to leave that void zone there. And then we're going to move the boss over here towards this X marker, and that's to bait and make sure that he's casting Scouring Eternity behind these pillars on the edge of the room, so we can still attack him during the, that portion there where he doesn't move. And it's big execute damage here, so we're just cycling as many Colossus Smash windows as we can. There's the Infinite Duress buff going out again on one of our players here that's going to help knock us back from this Void Zone. and another set of adds are going to spawn here, and we can sweeping strikes, you know, and get some cleave going on these guys, but as we get back in the boss, we definitely don't want to let our Juggernaut stacks fall off, so just sweeping executes on these is, you know, big value, what we're going to do here. Avoiding any of these little purple swirls, purple on purple on purple, during the final phase here, because if you get hit by any of these, it's going to give you, I think, 5 stacks of the debuff, and if you get over 6 at any point, I'd say you probably want to eat something intentionally so you can go down and clear that debuff, because it's a lot of extra damage for your healers. But we're just pummeling, you know, down executes right here, and we're slowly kind of baiting the boss back towards that X side again. That way we can get him behind those pillars for that Eternity cast and still be able to attack him right here. And there is a burst of damage that goes out at the end of this. I'm not exactly sure what it was, actually. But we don't die, thankfully. We get dangerously close. And down goes Heroic Sarkareth. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Thank you for watching. Sorry this one's a little bit late. It's been a very busy couple of weeks with 8,000 Mythic Plus runs. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one really soon. Peace.